up? It's Josh Korn, Papa Josh, whatever. Josh Milliken from Dread Central, and we are thrilled to present the Circus of the Dead reunion. What's up, everybody? I've got some extremely special guests in the house. You will recognize Bloody Billy Pon, writer-director, Circus of the Dead. We've also got Bill Oberst Jr., Popcorn, the iconic horror clown. We've got Parish Randall, who played the protagonist Dawn in Circus of the Dead. And we have some clowns in the house. Noodle Dome Ryan Clapp and the Mr. Blister. He is who he is. Man, I am so stoked to be here with everyone. This is a great day. Circus of the Dead, available now on VOD and Blu-ray for the first time in a lot of years. It's a wonderful day. It's a great celebration. And I'm stoked as hell. Now, before we go any further, let's show the trailer for Circus of the Dead, now available on VOD and Blu-ray. Yeah.
We begin with breaking news out of Odessa. 2 people have been found dead.
3 missing, 2 of them young girls.
Still no word tonight on the whereabouts of Alyssa, Hillary, and their father, Donald Johnson.
The death toll rises to 13.
Popcorn! Popcorn! Silence is golden. Daddy asked me to come by and keep an eye on you.
What are those? Tarot cards or something?
No, you'll figure it out soon enough. From the first sin of birth, we all deserve to die. I'm here by accident. I've got a big surprise for you. Welcome to the greatest show on earth!
Circus of the Dead,
Oh,
now on VOD and Blu-ray. We should be posting some links to where you can watch and order Circus of the Dead for yourself. Also, we will be giving away 10 Blu-rays of Circus of the Dead to the first 10 people, US residents, who submit questions. So in the comments, if you have questions, submit them now, because the first 10 people to submit awesome questions are going to get the Blu-ray. Without further ado, I want to introduce my panelists. You know them because they are Circus of the Dead. We got Billy Pon, writer-director. What's up? How you doing, man?
Good, Josh. It's so good to see you, and kind of pseudo person, at least on the interwaves and stuff. I'm glad we're all still alive and not sick. We're doing good.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. I mean, what should I be calling you? Bill, Billy, Bloody?
Well, I mean, it's not the right place to talk about this, but probably Daddy.
Oh no,
Yeah.
The rumors are true?
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, we are so stoked to have you here. Going to be coming back soon to talk to you in depth. Next on the panel, we've got Bill Oberst Jr., a legend in indie horror and the person who personifies Popcorn. Definitely one of the most iconic horror villains of the 21st century. Bill Oberst, how you doing?
To you and your sock monkey, I say good evening.
Well, the sock monkey's here because I watched your horror panel the other day for Texas Frightmare HQ, and you had your little Papa Corn, who I see over your shoulder there. I was like, well, if he's bringing his little me, I'm gonna bring my sock monkey me.
I love it.
Yep, and of course my face paint is a tribute to you. Papa Corn's a fantastic character, and we're so thrilled that this re-release is going to introduce him to a whole bunch of people who haven't met you yet. We're so stoked to have you here. Can't wait to talk to you some more about the character and everything else you've got going on. So thank you so much for being here. Next up, Randall Parish, who plays Dawn, the poor protagonist of Circus of the Dead. Because things don't really work out too well for you, do they, Parish?
Yeah, I was kind of like, just trying to take the wife and kids out for a family night at the circus, and well, clowns get away with murder. God damn it! What do you do? Hey, but it was a blast.
Well, cool. I'm really glad to have you here. You and I have actually met in person a few times.
Yes.
So, it's really great to see you. And, you and I actually do have a nice little repertoire already built. So I'm glad you're here, and it's going to be a good time.
It's an honor to be here, and totally stoked that today is the day that, Circus is flooding, the world, thanks to you guys at Dread Central. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks to you guys for putting out something incredible and giving us the opportunity to help get it out there. Now, we were talking about some clowns who disrupted your dinner. Got a couple of them in the house right now. Talking about Ryan Clapp, first of all. Mr. Noodle Dome, how you doing, Ryan?
Doing good, sir. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I mean, maybe it shows I'm genuinely excited for Circus of the Dead re-release. I'm a little bit of a fan. May have even led a panel on Circus of the Dead one time back in 2018. May feel a real connection to the film. Really happy to have you here, man.
Glad to be here for sure.
And last but certainly not least, Mr. Blister. How's it going, you degenerate motherfucker?
Hey, bitches.
Right on. Enough said for now, because with a character like Mr. Blister, you have to be careful, especially when you're streaming live, because anyway, I don't want to put any ideas into his head. Let's just move on. Now, I did mention that I did lead a Circus of the Dead panel in Bastrop, Texas, Cult Classic Convention 2018. Parish was there. Chanel was there. Billy, you were not there. And,
I was dying.
We had heard that you were under the weather, that you weren't feeling well. It turned out it was a little more serious than that. You've had a hell of a couple years. Do you feel comfortable sharing a little of that?
No, absolutely, I do. There's a lot of people that weren't as fortunate as I was that started this battle at the same time with the same disease, and they didn't fare as well. So, it's a blessing, and I'll talk to anybody about it at any time, because it's good to tell them that you can beat it, and try your hardest no matter what the outcome is.
And just in case, just to be clear, we're talking about cancer. Mm-hmm. Our man here overcame cancer, and you were you shared your journey through chemo on Facebook. We saw you lose all your hair. We saw you lose all your weight. And then, the word miraculous gets thrown around a lot, but when you announced that you were 100% lymphoma free, and the way you've just bounced back since then, I actually saw you at Texas Frightmare last year in 2019.
Okay.
And I was about to go introduce myself to you, but you looked really tired, man.
Yeah,
really
that Frightmare will wear you out. You know how Frightmare is, especially those Saturdays out there. I was, but as a matter of fact, when I got home from Frightmare, the next day I got put in the hospital for 5 days because I kind of overdid it at Frightmare. So you're pretty good about calling that. So yeah, I was running on fumes that Sunday and barely got home and ended up in the hospital. So.
Well, you look fantastic. I mean, I know you've still got some lingering concerns, but just looking at you and your energy, and you really do have this bright aura. I mean, you're
Thank you.
You're such a degenerate motherfucker, but you really like exude this like really bright, happy, positive energy, and it's been so great to see that come back to you in full force, and being able to put your film out is just like adds another level of wonder to it all.
It totally does, and this is what I wanted to feel, 4 or 5 years ago, when this was the way it was supposed to go back then. But like the cancer thing, things don't go the way we want to sometimes, so we gotta do our best to roll with the punches and get to where we need to get to and take care of business. I don't want to say I wish it wouldn't have happened to me, but you can't change those things, and you just do the best of what you got. And all I know now is it reminds me that time's limited, and I need to make as many movies as I can, before I drop in.
Yeah, I mean, some would even say like you're here because the world isn't done with you, man. But yeah, that was great how you made that metaphor. Just like things didn't work.
We lost Josh. We'll roll for Josh. Josh, we lost him. Well, see, Parish, it wasn't just you, brother.
Wasn't me this time. Hey.
There you are. You back, Josh?
Back.
Hey, I was just saying poetic, wonderful things about the film and you that can never be recreated. But no.
That was your shining Oscar moment.
It was. But no, fantastic that you've bounced back. Fantastic that Circus of the Dead is now getting another vault into the spotlight. Let me go down to the other Bill Oberst. It's so great to be talking to you and to be meeting you like this face to face. We've communicated. You're always so gracious every time I would cover one of your shows or your podcast. You always went the extra mile to reach out and thank me for it, which really, as a journalist, feels great. Never expected, but it feels great. So actually being able to meet you now and talk to you is fantastic. Really good to meet you, sir.
It's good to meet you too. And I almost cry really when I think about how people in the horror community are family, and how nice you guys and Steve and Dredd has been to me, because okay, yes, I'm always Mr. Sentimental, except when I'm playing him, but I can't help it. It really is. It's a family, and yeah, that's it. Gosh, that didn't come off as profound as I meant it to.
But no, it's so genuine, authentic.
I really appreciate being a part of it.
Well, hell yeah, and you played Papa Corn, and because the original release of Circus of the Dead didn't go as far as you guys had hoped. The world wasn't really introduced to it, but are you surprised that in Texas, Papa Corn is so iconic and so well loved?
Yes, they like him much better than me. And in fact, there was a cosplayer at the last con I was at, Cult Classic, much better than me, Josh. He was Chris was his name, and he was so he came up to me looking exactly like the character, and he says, "My name is Papa Corn, but my friends call me Papa Corn." And I was like, "Oh my God, I want your autograph." So Billy doesn't need me.
Oh, not true at all. Not true.
Yeah, I think Papa Corn has the makings to be a potential character, because you like him even though he's really bad.
Oh, he's awful. He's awful. Terrible. Not a role model. Just in case there are any kids thinking of checking it out. But
at least he's not a liar. Oh wait, he is.
Just a little bit. Well, thank you so much for being here. Gonna roll back around. Parish Randall, like I mentioned before, you and I have actually met not just at Cult Classic Convention 2018, but there was another convention. Was it in California or something where we crossed paths?
I think so. Yeah. I think it was Cali. I can't remember which one, but I met you prior to Cult Classic.
Okay. Yeah, I think you met me prior to and after.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Frightmare as well. So
there you go.
So Yeah, yeah. So it's good to see you and talk to you again. You know, and virtually, albeit. I mean, this is the way we all get together now with the COVID crisis. You know.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that's part of what we're doing here. You know, we're using the VOD release as an occasion, but what we're trying to do with our dissecting horror series, with our little virtual reunions, we're trying to approximate the convention experience the best we can. Is it as good as being at a convention? No. Is it better than nothing? Yes. Does it feel really good to participate in and to share with people? Yes. But no, I'm so glad you're here, and I'm glad to see that you're still going to conventions, that people are really into Circus of the Dead and your character Dawn. Are you surprised, considering the kind of stalled release before now of Circus of the Dead, that your character and the film became so iconic?
Well, you know, being a native of Texas and spending most of my time here, I had said to you on a couple of other occasions, I believe, I kept seeing the fans of the horror genre just continuing to embrace Circus of the Dead, especially, like I said, here in Texas. And they embraced it, they sustained it, and they kept it alive now for, Billy, 6 years. And
all right, fantastic.
Pretty cool, you know. I mean, the fans of the reason for the season. I mean, come on, like Bill said, the horror genre fans are family, and I mean that. Like Chris, he was so impressed with Bill's character Popcorn. He not only had the makeup, but he had the mannerisms. It's like deja vu for me. I wanted to cry again, you know, or run. I don't know which. But bottom line, you know, the fans kept it alive, and now you guys have taken it, and like I said, you're taking it to the masses. It's a tribute to Billy Pon, who is always coming up with the self-deprecating jokes and humor, because he's a humble kind of guy. But you know, he made a good movie. He loves the genre. In fact, Bill and I both, when we were on set doing the film, and Bill, you may remember this, we had a talk in between takes one time where we were discussing the fact that there was something special going on. There was a family, and there was a lot of things being brought in to make the film above average as compared to a lot of other indie efforts. So Billy is a perfectionist, and Billy is a great screenwriter and a damn good director. He let us know what he wanted from each character. He gave us the adjustments. He also allowed us a lot of flexibility, you know, to make choices as actors in those characters. And I mean, let's face it, Bill Oberst, what he brought to Popcorn, becoming that malevolent character, wow, you know, it's iconic. I say he ranks up there with Jason and Freddy and all the rest of those great horror icons that I grew up, you know, with, I don't know, posters of them on my wall when I was a teenager. So kudos to Bill. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Popcorn is just as iconic as another clown out there. Might have heard of him. He's in another movie released by Dread Central called Terrifier. It's almost like there's been an internet rivalry between Popcorn and Art the Clown, which is ironic because you're both incredibly iconic, creepy clowns, and Dread Central's kind of like the house of you both. What are you showing us there? Oh, Billy, come now. This is a family show. Now, I want to get down to Noodle Dome and Mr. Blister for a second. You know, I understand that Billy runs some year-round haunts. Does that mean that you guys actually play these characters more than just when you're on film? Your characters actually have lives of their own?
Yeah. We were, how long did I play Noodle Dome in the haunt before the movie?
It had to be at least, 12 to 15 years.
Yeah.
Once every haunted house worker's got a lifespan. So it's either that or their wife's getting mad and say, okay, that's enough of that haunted house stuff. You need to go home. But you start getting old, it's rough to do those haunted houses. So that's why. Ryan
Well, that's
retired.
really interesting because that suggests that, you know, part of the reason these characters come off as so insidious is because you spent years developing them.
Well, here's the thing with Ryan is he plays Noodle Dome, and we come up with that name. There's a road when you drive to Dallas to Odessa, you know, all the time, and it's Noodle Dome Road, and that's where that name comes from. But Ryan played Noodle Dome in a fake trailer we did for that Grindhouse fake trailer contest. So Ryan played Noodle Dome in that. We had some other clowns, but they didn't make it to the movie. So Ryan's been like a good luck charm playing Noodle Dome in everything I've done since 2007. A lot of stuff that's never even seen the light of day. So he's been around since day one.
Right on, right on.
Yeah.
Well, what about you, Mr. Blister? How long have you existed in the world of Billy Pon's haunted houses?
Probably since the movie, really.
Really? So you just
A late
appeared...
acquisition.
What was that?
I was a late acquisition.
Well, all right. Yeah, you've got a lot of mysteriousness about you. I must admit. I think this is
strong, silent type, you know, just strong and silent. You
know. What do you look for in a romantic partner?
Not moving.
Interesting. We'll leave it there for a second. I want to remind those of you watching on Facebook that we're looking for questions from you guys. So in case we're not already at the 10 mark, I want to remind you that the first 10 of you to submit questions are going to get a Circus of the Dead Blu-ray. With that said, I have one question here that I'm going to read to the group. Someone asks, has work begun yet on Circus of the Dead Part 2?
Yeah, I mean, it has. The story's written and everything. I talked to Bill about it a little bit out at Bastrop and everything. So we got the idea on where we're going to go. We're just going to go play Cowboys and Demons next. And Parish and Bill will be along for that. Hopefully Ryan and Rusty will make it out too. I know the secret to get those two guys to work with me is writing a really good role. So topping popcorn's tough. I don't know that I can ever do that, but I'm real happy with Bill's character in Cowboys from Hell. But Circus of the Dead 2 is coming. There's going to be more Doll Boy. There's going to be more Peppy the Mime. I basically, instead of trying to make War and Peace or something, I'm going to make the horror fans happy. I think that's what it really matters at the end of the day. Let's make the fans happy on what they want. So I listen, and in turn, I'll give it back to them.
Well, you know, before we started during the tech check, I think you were kind of joking around. You said you'd give me a cameo. Will you commit to that live on this stream with all these people?
Hell yeah, and Circus of the Dead too. I promise that. See, it's easy to promise cameos when you got a circus.
That's right.
200 people in the stands. Hey, here's your thing. Come sit on the front row up here, Josh.
Put it on my IMDb page.
Yeah.
Circus of the Dead Part 2.
You got it.
Pre-production.
Yes.
Awesome. Let me get some more questions here because there are a bunch of them. I want to be in Circus of the Dead. How do I get in? Would you be looking for more circus freaks?
Well, get some knee pads like Rusty. That's how he got in.
And you're saying because of all the stunts involved.
Yeah, you're gonna get hurt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly,
because of any other reason.
Here's what I say about people out there. This is a good question. Maybe you're not Bill Oberst or Parish Randall, but look at these two other goons on there. These guys will tell you they're not actors now. They're interesting looking people. So sometimes if you just send me a headshot and stuff, I mean, you never know. Like I said, you're not going to be doing Shakespeare for me or nothing, but you know what? You just might find your way in if you're interesting enough.
Right on. You know, there's something about Circus of the Dead that's so uniquely Texas. And, you know, obviously that was intentional. Are you going to do the same thing? Are you going to bring in Texas talent? Is it all going to be done in Texas?
Well, I mean, I was saying this on that last podcast that Cowboys from Hell's got to be in Texas. That's sacrilegious to Pantera if we don't. Same thing with Circus. It's going to Circus of the Dead Part 2. To get me out of Texas is going to be tough because that's my mojo. And being Texas Chainsaw Massacre is my favorite movie. And the reason I feel like the other ones didn't catch up to Part 1 and 2 is they just didn't feel like, smell like, taste like act like Texas. There's just something wrong. So I know we got that part right in our movies. It feels like Texas. For better or worse, it feels like Texas.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's get to another question. Here's one from for Bill Oberst. What drew you to the film? What made you want to join the team?
Billy Pon called me, and I was on the set of another film, which was actually in Texas, and I was watching a naked woman being dragged behind like an old Pontiac around in circles in a field. She was a prosthetic, so she was okay. But I was covered in blood myself watching this and talking on the phone about circus. And Billy Pon said, I think I'm going to make an iconic horror movie and I want to talk to you about it. And it was the perfect time to meet him watching this other project being made. And yeah, that's how I got involved. He asked me.
Fantastic, fantastic. Parish, how has being in Circus of the Dead changed your life?
It's really been amazing in that prior to Circus of the Dead, you know, I had done a lot of films in which I played the villain. I always found myself pre-circus playing kind of this rootin' tootin' Yosemite Sam kind of guy, you know? And I really wanted to do a role where I could, I don't know, be human, you know? Not the villain, just the average guy. And thanks to Billy and his screenplay and subsequently the film, I was given that opportunity, and I'm very grateful to Billy for that. Since then, I've done 3, 4, 5 other films in which, you know, I played, you know, the father, the characters that are not, again, out there chasing cheerleaders through the woods with chainsaws. However, Texas is proud of its chainsaws, by the way. I gotta say, there it is. You know, you ask about Texas and doing horror films in Texas. Here's the thing. After Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out, Texas, the Lone Star State, became iconic for horror. We've seen other films shot elsewhere that tried to duplicate the setting as being in Texas. It doesn't work. There's something about that look and feel of a Texas lens film that you just can't fake. You can't duplicate it. So I'm thrilled to know that Billy is keeping it real and keeping Cowboys from Hell and Circus of the Dead 2 here in the Lone Star State, because, you know, again, there's the heat, there's the sweat. As Marilyn Burns used to say, there's the misery of making a film in 110-degree heat that, you know, it lends something to the film. It does.
Hey, Parish.
Yo.
You know, you talk about the Texas 5. I worked Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights the very first year I was in LA and starving. And I worked the Texas Chainsaw Maze, and I played Old Monty. You know, get them, boys, get them, get them, get them. And the line for that was always the longest. It was the most popular attraction because people wanted to be in that weird Texas world.
You know, my second film I did back in 2007 was a film called The Flesh Keeper, which was like the director called it a homage to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And anyway, it was shot in part in Los Angeles and in part here in Texas. And I found myself with lines like, you know, get that bitch home, get that bitch whore. You know, it's like, we're redoing Chainsaw. So again, you know, I don't know. I don't think you can duplicate a classic, but fans they still love to hear those lines that pay tribute to that original great classic, you know?
Hell yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, cool. Let me get to another one of these questions from the audience. So this is another one for you, Bill Oberst. Did playing Papa Corn take any sort of toll on you? And this is an interesting question because there's this almost famous, iconic behind-the-scenes photo that's been going around a lot that Billy Pon shared.
That's not the good behind the scene photo, Josh. There's a better one. But Bill forbade me to let that one out. Yeah.
That is not true.
No, there's a real bad one, Bill.
Well, let me describe it to the viewers here. You're holding Bill as Papa Corn against the wall, and you guys are just locked in this, stare. It's like a Kubrick, Jack Nicholson moment, where there's like so much intensity, and it just seems like it's one of these like pivotal film moments. Did the film take a toll on you? Was Billy this like intense director pushing you to depraved extremes?
No, he's a very gentle man, but I was wrong. Everything that I thought about this character was wrong, and I got to set and realized how wrong I had been and taking it too lightly. I didn't understand the darkness that was in Papa Corn, so I just had to surrender to Billy and make him sort of like almost my spirit guide, because he and Lee had written Papa, and for years and years they've been developing this character. So in that photo, that's me just surrendering to him and letting him control me. And I know people say, oh, it's just a horror film, it's about clowns. But Josh, the thing is, if you're going to play evil in a way that makes people go, oh shit, and that's what I like to do. If I'm going to play evil, I want people to have that, oh crap moment. This is real. And if you're going to do that, you have to surrender yourself to that evil. And if you do it real, yes, it does take a toll. And I could not watch Circus of the Dead for a couple of years, and it's better now because you guys are involved and you have a sock monkey, and that makes it, kind of fun. But the first time that I watched it, Billy sent me the initial screener, and I was in my apartment in LA. It was raining, dark, gloomy, very uncharacteristic for LA. I watched the movie. I turned it off, and I said, I've got to get out of here. I had to go outside, walk. Even though it was raining, I just wanted to see clouds, trees, birds, to remind myself that this world was not real. It was that strong in me. And I've talked to some people who, when they first watch, some people laugh, but other people have had that, oh shit moment watching it, think these people could really exist just on the other side of my reality.
Yeah, that's pretty intense.
And when he posted that, Josh, I saw him post that, and I thought, well, shit, he hates the movie. That's what I thought. I go, oh, crap, he hates the movie.
Just the opposite.
Parish?
But Bill, yeah, I was going to say, and this, just, saying to Bill or discussing for everyone, the great thing about working, for me, as far as it being the greatest experience I've had on any film, aside from it being a well-written role, working with you, Bill, because you approach it the same way I do. You immersed yourself into and became, and that's the way I was trained. You became that character of Papa Corn, and I became Donald, and I spent that entire month as Donald while we were filming, literally really fearing you, or not you, but you were Papa Corn in my mind and my heart and my soul. And I've heard in other interviews you say that the more you immersed yourself in Papa Corn, the more you hated Donald and wanted to torment and sadistically we're getting off on as Papa Corn.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy what actors, where we go,
This is something that I think fans should realize, is that just the slight alteration in our circumstances can make us really enjoy cruelty towards others. I played Nazis. I did a Nazi piece in the Czech Republic, and we were in an actual Nazi tunnel. We had the boots, we had the uniform, and I liked it. And I liked it a lot, Parish. I was really getting off on the slapping the boots down. And then me and my Nazi buddies, we started hanging around together at lunch, and we didn't want to talk to the rest of the cast.
No.
It happened very, very quickly. So, anybody that says humanity is filled with light, they should do what we do for a living.
Right.
No.
No, you're right. Because, the more we got into those very intense scenes, the more I was filled with panic. Literally, and I was Donald, and it was real. What you see on screen, and I know it's hard for a lot of people perhaps to understand that. I've had people come up at conventions and ask of me, oh, I bet that was fun. I bet this was fun. And it is fun. You're glad to be working, but you go into this place and you become this character, and the crew and the lights and everything, the camera goes away and you're in that moment.
The only fun I had was with Chanel Ryan's head. That was fun. The rest of it,
and I was sitting right next to you, man.
Fun.
I couldn't. I was tied up trying to dodge your ass, man. You know?
Ain't nobody got more of you than that ass than Ron did. Ron sat behind Bill the whole time during that. So
awesome. Well, Ryan, I don't want you to think we're ignoring you here. Clowns, evil clowns, there's definitely been a resurgence, before the new It movies came out with the new Pennywise, there was Circus of the Dead. Ryan, what makes clowns scary, and what do you try to do with Needle Dome to really up that intense creepiness?
I really didn't do a whole lot.
Is it just putting on the makeup turns you evil?
I didn't really play him as evil. It was more of a childlike thing, like a big child that didn't know his own strength and couldn't quite exactly think exactly right. So
that's interesting, because that's kind of how Gunnar Hansen described his approach to the original Leatherface.
That's kind of what it was, a clown version, maybe. I don't know.
Wow, very interesting.
So Ron was playing himself, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Well, clearly. But the guy who really is playing himself, obviously, is Mr. Blister, because you have no identity besides, this evil maniacal clown. You're currently wanted by the police. Are you ducking and evading constantly? What's your life like these days?
You just try to stay low and change your appearance a little bit and do what you can to stay away from the man.
Well, what is it about clowns that makes them so sexy? I mean, scary.
Well, you need to buy me a drink first, okay?
All right. If I was unlucky enough to cross paths with you, where might that be? A public restroom or a...
wherever your time's up,
All right.
It'll probably be a MAGA rally.
Oh, there we go.
Hey, Mr. Blister, show him your shirt. Or stand up a little bit, show him your shirt. But to-do list.
Your mom.
It's crossed out. Oh, it's already crossed out.
Send her my love.
Mr. Blister. It's funny because all of this is kind of tame compared to some of the extreme places that Circus of the Dead goes. That's something, want to make people kind of aware of. This isn't a funny, lighthearted, Zombieland type horror comedy. This is some pretty extreme shit. Now, let me ask you, Billy, do you think that it's possible to go too far?
I don't personally, but yeah, where the world's going right now, everything's so PC. But I believe film is art, and it should be art, and it should be your choice to get to see what you want to get to see. So we tell you, we warn you before it comes on, and all that kind of stuff. So,
oh no, he's getting naked.
Oh God, no!
He's getting naked.
Well, I think that you should be able to. You can see look at my pacemaker. Look, you see my pacemaker there now? I got that put in. And that's
wow.
Other scars. And then my bikini tan lines. No, I don't think there should be anything. I think you should be able to do what you want to do in this. You got to make something that stands out. I mean, hell, Walking Dead pushes the envelope. Everybody's pushing the envelope now. Push the envelope a little bit. I mean, because real life is way worse than this fantasy stuff we're doing, you guys. And this isn't real. This is just for pretend.
Yeah. So this is just something to all you guys, now that we're all just sitting around chatting. I mean, how have y'all been holding up during the pandemic? And how do you think that this affects the horror community and the horror landscape?
Well,
anybody?
Okay. Horror films have historically always done better when there's times of crises. I mean, during times of war and and such, I mean, ticket sales for horror films tend to skyrocket or rise. And I think it's because, you know, you see so much on the news, it's reality. And that's more terrifying than anything. You can go and see a horror film, or you can watch it now via VOD or by the Blu-ray. And you're seeing, you know, or you're seeing scripted horror, entertainment horror. It's a vicarious kind of, you know, release. You know, you're in no danger. It's like riding a roller coaster, I always say. You get on the coaster, you go up the hill, you come down the steep hill, you scream, you shout, then you laugh. Maybe you get nauseated. When it's over, you say, hey, let's do that again, right? And so I think horror films serve that purpose. It's an outlet. It's a way for people to escape the real scary shit that's going on out there, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, Billy, I got a question just came in for you. What was the biggest challenge you came across during the production of Circus of the Dead?
Well, I get, you know, when people ask what it takes to be a good director, as I say, you're a good manager and a problem solver. Me and Ryan worked in television at CBS 7 forever and a day. And we'd show up somewhere and they'd want to do something elaborate, not have any actors. They need a dog or need a cat. And you have to pull magic out of your rear end. And that made me a good director. So to say if there was one thing that we had to overcome, is probably bringing Parish in after we lost. We fired another actor right off the bat. And after filming a couple of days and brought him in, because everything was scheduled to day by day. And people like Ryan and Rusty had their day jobs. And it's hard to move certain things around because my crew were all, you know, local people all had day jobs. So that was the hardest part. And during that whole month of filming, we might have had, now I know some of the actors had more days off, but for us production wise, I mean, there might've been 1 or 2 days off. And we had one barbecue over Roy Shuck's house, and it was a hell of a barbecue. I remember Bill sitting back chilling and Parish disco dancing with Donna and Bacon Explosion. It was just a real good day over there at Roy's house. But that made it all worth it. But if one thing stands out, maybe I put it all off. Y'all could probably remind me, but that chemo fortunately took a lot of memory out of me. So I don't remember the bad things as much.
That's fantastic. I mean, does anyone recall any huge challenge that just felt like a potentially insurmountable obstacle that you powered through on?
What is it, Bill?
Bill Overs.
Yes. On the spur of the moment, Marcus Kotz, our special effects guy, was asked to create a prosthetic penis. And he did it, and he free sculpted it, and it looked really good. But he just, on the spur of the moment, Billy decided that he wanted to do this. And I could see Marcus's eyes going wide. He's like, can I do this? Because I think it was literally overnight. And he did it. And it was amazing. And he rigged up this whole prosthetic penis rig. And it's the first prosthetic penis I had worn. And it's still close to my heart among the others.
It's that big, it's close to his heart.
I remember one thing, and Bill, I know you guys remember it, when we were shooting at the old Ector Theater, that great classic theater that looked like you were stepping back into 1975. There was the blood rigging, if you remember, and the deal was made with the owner, you know, I don't want blood on the walls. I don't want blood on the steps.
Yes.
And I'm not sure how it happened, but what was supposed to be a little spray, it exploded. And I mean, there was blood from the ceiling to the roof and on the roof, and we were all on ladders scrubbing, you know. It wasn't insurmountable, but that was quite the,
And that wasn't even over, Josh, because like he was saying is 2 months later, I went to go back to, or 3 months later, we went to shoot a short at that same theater, and we were walking up by the stage. And I looked up high, and it had to be 60 or 70 feet. There was just blood all up these curtains. And I go, we got to clean this before we start this other one while that guy's out of town. So we're still cleaning up Circus like 6-7 months after the film.
Oh, wow.
I'm convinced hearing all of this that a behind-the-scenes documentary would be just as entertaining as the film you guys made.
Well, going back to what Bill was saying, Marcus is pretty unflinching. And supposedly he's the master at sculpting penis. But he goes, he takes it real serious. First off, he goes, all right, Billy, are we talking like a giant penis, a pretty good penis, a not so good penis. He goes hard, flaccid. How do you want it? That kind of thing. Well, he sculpted it, and Anthony Gutierrez, because he's the creeper that he is, filmed this. So there's video of Marcus sculpting for an hour on video, and I've been tempted to squeeze that penis all down to about 3 minutes. Fast forward, watching Marcus sculpt that penis in front of him. It might be the
Why don't you get on that and we'll release it as a little exclusive on Dread Central.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, Josh.
Yeah.
Hey, I got an Easter egg to throw out that fans will really enjoy. There's a pivotal scene, which I won't describe, but Chanel Ryan's character is sitting in a chair in her home, she and Don's home. And that chair is a replica of Captain Kirk's chair from original Star Trek, because the owner of the home where we filmed was a fan. Is that correct, Billy?
Yes, David Chacon is a super duper uber nerd. Yes.
And you can actually see in the scene, if you pay attention, that she is sitting in Captain Kirk's chair. And that's the kind of thing that as a fan, I just go crazy about.
Fantastic. Mr. Blister, do you have any fun behind the scenes stories from the production of Circus of the Dead?
Well, driving from makeup to set was fun. You know, a bunch of clowns in a vehicle waving to people and people freaking out. It was a good time.
How many clowns were you able to squeeze into that vehicle? I feel like there's a joke here.
All of us, I think, all four of us. Especially Mike. He was really giving people on the road a hard time. So
awesome. So, Mr. Blister, do you do conventions? And when you do them, do you show up in all makeup?
I have. I did.
What kind of reaction do you get?
People. Some people run away, and some people love it and want photos. And we did that on the premiere at Frightmare the first year, actually.
Nice.
And people really enjoyed it.
That's on those special features, Josh, on the Dread release on the Blu-ray, the Texas Frightmare thing. You can see Mr. Blister messing with the people outside the premiere.
Fantastic. And that's something else to mention. The Blu-ray, which you can order now, has some really nice special features. There's even your film Cowboys on there, correct?
Mm-hmm. And that's never been on Blu-ray before, legally.
First time on
anywhere.
Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, what about you, Ryan? Do you ever, does Needle Dome ever show up to the fests?
You'd made it once, remember?
Once. The very first year it was released, I went. Haven't been able to make it since, but I plan on making some in the near future.
Right on.
He's got a rider, Josh, and if they don't have like nachos with the cheap cheese available at these conventions, he will not go.
Yeah.
So we're having a hell of a time with that rider.
Yeah. Do you have a rider as well, Mr. Blister? And what are some of the things on it?
Cigarettes, lube, whiskey, hookers, blow. It's a big list. I got to look at it.
The standard Motley Crue package, then.
Yes, the Motley Crue package.
Right on. Right.
And you know, being Mr. Blister, even if he got everything on the list, he would still be really blasé about it. Like with the cigarette hanging out, and he would be like, yeah.
Right on. Well, go ahead, Parish.
Sorry, I have to say this about Ryan Clapp as Noodle Dome. The first night that I shot when I was on set, because I was brought in to replace another actor, I was off the plane and off to the circus. And doing independent films, you oftentimes, they say you're going to be shooting at the circus, and you end up arriving at a location with one sheet backdrop. This was a whole circus. I mean, Billy really got a whole circus.
Real circus.
This scene, though, didn't make it into the film, but there's a scene that we shot that night where Ryan, and it's why I say he is a gentle giant and a great guy. The guy, how tall are you, Ryan? I mean, you're, 7 foot tall?
About 6'5"-ish.
Yeah. Well, Ryan had to lift me over his head, and he was carrying me like this. And then the idea was that he was going to drop me. Let me tell you what, when you're lifted 7 feet in the air, okay, and I didn't know Ryan at the time. That was real fear. because I hadn't really had time to prepare the character. Okay, and I'm thinking, holy crap, I'm going to break a neck here, you know. But Brian managed to carry me gently and drop me gently, if that's possible. I don't know how to describe that. And
Wow.
so I'm forever grateful, you know. Noodle Dome, good guy.
Hey,
Good
I'll tell you
guy.
something else about Noodle Dome. He was the muscle of the game, and he would come to me and say, you know, I got to pick up Parish in this one. We'd have a thing we'd talk about is how hard do you want me to be, or how rough do you want me to be with him? And we didn't know Parish too well, but I kind of knew him, so I said, well, somewhat rough. Jed Dusler, I said, fuck his ass up. I said, because he's one of our local friends. I said, fuck him up. Patrick Ryan, I go, he's kind of whiny. I said, fuck him up. Let's do it harder. So depending, when he'd come to me and say, how hard are we going to rough these people up? Luckily, Bill was never on that end because you're his friend, Bill. You're a popcorn, so he never roughed you up any. But now, you remember Roger Edwards now. Roger Edwards was built like a brick shithouse, you know what I mean? He's a big old strong dude and stuff. And he told Ryan, he goes, no, I could whip you, Ryan. And Ryan threw that dude on that ground so quick, he couldn't do nothing about it. But we had a good wrestling match in that thing. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen Roger Edwards, but he's about 6'5" of muscle. So yeah, he's a big old strong dude.
But you know when and Bill, you remember this? A lot of those scenes between Bill as Popcorn and myself as Don or Donald, you know, they required the kicks. They required a lot of punching and different things. And I don't know. I'm of the opinion that when you do a horror film, I mean, it's just part of it. You're gonna take some hits. You got to. I mean, you're not gonna end up with stitches, but you're gonna get some bruises. You're gonna get, you know, some scrapes, and it's all part of the game. And so that's what you do. Okay, it's for the camera. It's for the audience. You know. And so when Bill was kicking my ass, Bill
literally.
Yeah, well, he was
Literally.
and Bill, super kind actor, you know, was like, am I kicking you too hard? I'm like, no, just keep going for it, because then I reacted. It's kind of like when you do a scene where you're slapped. If they pull the slap, you can't react to it. Not as good as when you really get slapped. So yeah, it was great. I mean, and nobody got their neck broke. Nobody got hurt. We had a good time. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Right on, right on. Another question from the viewers. Billy, any specific inspirations for this film? What did you have in your mind when you set out to create Circus of the Dead?
Well, you know, it's funny you actually mentioned that, and I swear you did. You just like lobbed me the softball because you didn't know about this. But today is Sid Haig's birthday.
Yeah, we know.
And when I saw, you know, God bless Sid Haig. And when I saw House of a Thousand Corpses, you know, Captain Spaulding and the idea of him, he's just a dude working the thing who happens to be a clown. The whole movie come to me then. It's just what if the movie was real and not cheesy and funny, ho-ho, and they collect all kinds of clown figurines. They drive a clown car. I just wanted to do everything opposite of what a normal clown would do, like Captain Spaulding did. And so people always say, Rob Zombie ripped you off. I go, I ripped Rob Zombie off of anything. So, yeah. So, you know, God bless Sid Haig and, you know, Captain Spaulding. That's what inspired this whole movie.
But Billy, you were really, really influenced too by Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, the whole Circus of the Dead film has that vibe to it.
Well, it's in my DNA, that's for sure. They always say, you know, people always say Tarantino rips off things, and I don't ever say anybody rips off anything. I just think it's your DNA. It's just like musicians, you know. The Beatles are in you, you know, Van Halen's in you. It's just what comes out. So Texas Chainsaw Massacre is the most of my DNA. It's like I always tell everybody, I'm 3/4 white and below the waist I'm Asian. So that's kind of that deal. So
don't get us in trouble, Billy.
Patrick's on the phone, Josh. Pick up the phone. It's Patrick, line 1.
No, this is all really fantastic. Well, what besides, you know, Circus of the Dead Part 2, what else are you working on in the immediate future? You mentioned Cowboys from Hell. Tell us a little bit about that.
Cowboys from Hell is going to be pretty cool because I haven't seen anything like it yet. People's done horror westerns before, but I don't think they've done anything quite like this, because I'm really going to push the envelope in scary horror and then mix it with like a classic western. And there's a lot of interesting and cool characters. I'm hoping Bill, we haven't negotiated yet, but he'll come play with me anytime, I bet you. But he plays a guy named the Sin Buster. And this was the easiest role to write once I started talking to Bill and Bastrop, because it's Bill. He's playing himself until the shit hits the fan. Then he's going to turn into something dark. And same thing with Parish is is I knew Ryan and Rusty before Circus, and now I know Bill and Parish. So once you get to know these people and these actors and really get to know them, it's just I can hear them playing these characters and stuff in my head. It just writes itself. So I'm really excited about this. And this was a promise to Brad Potts when we were doing Circus, you know. And I was afraid to fly all these actors and stuff out to be in my movie because it was my first movie and I didn't even know if I'd know how to direct. Because I really did just wing the whole thing. I know it sounds crazy, but I winged it. But I had just a really good support staff around me that made me better than what I actually am. But
you know, Pon, what you have that in common with Rob Zombie, that I mean, you say you were inexperienced, but your instinct was to write the role for the people that you knew, and Zombie does the same thing.
Well, it sounds like you caught lightning in a bottle, you know?
Well, that's like the popcorn thing is I was collecting names 5 years before I approached anybody, and you know that's where these actors and stuff. I guess Bill ended up on a top 5 indie scary actors list or something. So I just out of the blue researched them on YouTube and then noticed we had a couple of friends and then reached out to them. It was really that simple. But I kid around all the time because David Thornton was actually on that list for Popcorn too.
Wow, David Thornton who plays Art the Clown.
But he wasn't back then. There was no Art the Clown. He just played Joker in a cosplay, and I used to be friends with him on MySpace, of all things. And also was I don't even know if Bill knows all this, but it was even Mosley was on the short list. Also, Paul Rubens was on the short list.
Pee Wee Herman?
Yeah, Pee Wee Herman. Now, these people I didn't even make it to because once I went to the first person on my list, which was Bill, I just fell in love with the guy just on a personal level. And I said, you know, he makes me feel confident and not scared. So that's the kind of person I want on set. So that's how that worked out. So.
Yeah, Bill Oberst, your reputation is sterling, and you're so prolific. I mean, what are you working on now? I imagine you've got a half a dozen things in post-production and 6 more things coming up.
I've got I got 3 shoots scheduled through the end of the year, and then the movies that I have coming out. Gosh, there was one, and I can't remember the name of it now, but I do remember Mark Savage's Painkiller, which will be out pretty darn shortly, and it's about a guy whose daughter dies of an opioid overdose, and he realizes that nobody's doing anything about it. Big Pharma's not doing anything, government's not doing anything, the dealers, so he decides to do something about it himself. And being a Mark Savage film, people get hurt. So that's called Painkiller, and that'll be coming out before the end of the year. Yeah.
Fantastic. What about you, Parish?
I just remember the other, and they'll get mad if I don't mention it. It's called Great Land.
Okay.
And it's sort of a very strange pandemic era, weird, bizarre as crap thing. You just have to watch the trailer for it. It's called Great Land. But then the jewel in the crown, really, Josh, is Circus of the Dead getting back out there like it should be. So this is the most important professional moment of the year for me, and I'm so proud to see Billy Pon's movie picked up by you guys.
Hell yeah. Well, you know, it was such it's an honor to be able to re-release this film. You know, when I was preparing to do my first Circus of the Dead panel, 2018, before the Cult Class Convention, in a hotel room the night before, 3 guys in a hotel room, 2 beds. I was actually sleeping between the beds on the floor, just on my laptop, trying to absorb this movie before, you know, the panel the next day, because I actually hadn't seen it until then. And I'm just like watching my headphones in the dark while these 2 other guys were snoring. And I was just like, God damn, this is nuts. And then when you came and said you were looking to give the film the release it really deserved to begin with, it was like I was so happy to be able to bring it to Epic Pictures and Dread Presents, and I'm just so thrilled that this came to fruition, and now we've unleashed it upon the world. And I say unleash, you know, much in the same way as Terrifier. I mean, people are going to see this and not necessarily be happy, but a lot of people are going to see this and they're just going to be like, holy shit, you know. And I just think it's going to be fantastic. Ryan and Mr. Blister, what you guys got clowning around, doing anything interesting career-wise?
Just your mom.
Good to know. Good to know. Well, I'll give her a call later. See how that's going.
Needle Dick, what about you?
Just working and building websites. So
there you go. There you go. Billy, any last words before we wind down this live stream? Anything you want our people to know about Circus of the Dead?
Just give it a shot, and all you guys that's already watched it before, leave another review on these new VOD things, even if you don't watch it again, because the whole logistics of computers and nerdy nerd stuff, we need that attention on there. So
yeah, those algorithms are necessary.
So algorithms. So watch it, leave a review, good or bad. Don't lie about it. Be honest, but just leave a review.
Yeah, I see you, Parish. What do you want to say before we let you go?
Yeah, so they don't kill me. Hair Metal Shotgun Zombie Massacre, which is it's a horror comedy that's a throwback to like the Black Roses and such back in the 80s, Return of the Living Dead. It's playing drive-in starting this Friday. And
that's directed by Josh
Vargas. And I played Bob Bastard, who's kind of like a Keith Richards, who's basically he's fried his brain on drugs and everything else. And it's a cool shoot. It was a cool shoot. It's a fun movie. And it's
so you can relate to a guy who fried his brains on drugs, then?
Who, me? Well, I looked at Keith Richards a whole lot, and I thought, okay, that would be Keith. And then I did a film up in Ohio called Fun, F-U-N, in which I play a Gulf War vet whose daughter is a veteran of the Afghanistan conflict, and she's come home and she's assaulted, and basically her father, I play, Daddy goes on the war path, so does she. So it's a revenge action kind of movie. I did Estella's Revenge, which is a supernatural film that's forthcoming. Lined up to do Cowboys from Hell, but I want to shout out again to Fun, Robbie Barnes. She was both an actress in the film and she directed it, and it was done for Perfect Holiday Productions, and they were a pleasure to work for. So watch for that one. I've seen the screener; they did a great job in post, so I think folks will love it. And again, thanks to you guys. I mean, you guys bringing circus to the fore like you have today. I mean, this is a party, and one that over 6 years, I don't know if any of us expected it, but we are thankful for it, and thankful to you guys, and thankful to the fans, because the fans kept it alive. Okay.
Well, fantastic. We're just thankful to be a part of it. Hey, what about you clowns? Any last words? Bill, Blister, Ryan?
Watch the movie. You'll love it.
I'm sure we will. Well, hey, I've had a fantastic time with each and every one of you. I don't care if it's virtual. This has been one of the most fun panels I've had the honor of moderating. It's been a dream panel, straight up. I want to thank you all for tuning in, everyone who watched us on Facebook Live, submitted those questions. If you missed any part of it, this is all going to be on YouTube in the not too distant future, so you can look back on it. And see Circus of the Dead. See it on VOD. Order your Blu-ray if you haven't already. Thanks again to my extremely esteemed panel, Billy Pon, Bill Oberst Jr., Randall, Ryan Clapp, Mr. Blister. Thank you all. Thanks to my team at Dread Central for helping do this. You're all fantastic. Circus of